Hey everybody, it's me, Stacey, licensed designer for Sizzix, Jacquard, and brand ambassador for Royal Talons. Hey everybody, welcome to today's In the Studio with Stacey class, where we take fine art product and paper crafting products, we pair them together and make magic happen. That is what an In the Studio class is. As a brand ambassador for Royal Talons, I get the privilege and the pleasure and the honor of playing with all of their wonderful products. All of them. And every month, I pick one product from Royal Talons, and sometimes I incorporate in things from other fine art companies as well, like Yasutomo, and we've Jacquard, and we bring them in. But I pick one product from Royal Talons, and for the entire month, every Tuesday, we have a different class just on that product. Usually the first Tuesday is always a kind of an education class where you learn the history and the what fors and the whys and the how comes and the why nots about a product. And then the following weeks, we really play with it in different ways so that you are as educated as I am. You see what these fine art products can do for people like me, a maker, a paper crafter. All of the In the Studio classes are available on our YouTube channel in the Studio with Stacey playlist. So you can go all the way back to January and watch the very first class. It's hard to believe that this is the last class for September. It's hard to believe that September is almost over. When we started this venture with Royal Talons, nobody was sure how it was going to work out. I am the only paper crafter as a brand ambassador for Royal Talons. I want to say there's maybe 42 brand ambassadors, and they are immensely talented. They truly are fine artists, professors, and those who have their art displayed and on exhibition and are commissioned for work. I am a paper crafter, but I love beautiful product that is going to make me look better than I really am. And anytime you start with a fine quality product, a higher level of product, well, you tend to get a better result, a higher level of result, even if your talent level is like mine. I'm a die cutter, a stamper, I can fussy cut. I mean, that is who I am. That's what I do. I mat, I layer, but the fine art world has really shown me how I can take these products and use them in the things that I do. And on a lot of occasions, fine art product is around the same price as paper crafting product, even though the quality, a lot better. So we've done January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, and we are finishing up September before we roll into October. All of September, I have been using product called Finetec. Finetec iridescent watercolors, pearlescent watercolors, metallic watercolors, and funny enough, Finetec isn't really owned. It's not owned by Royal Talons. It's distributed by Royal Talons. Finetec has been in existence since I think it was 1872. I want to say 1872, and the parent company, the main company, is called Drawtech. Now, 1872, that is more than 100 years ago. It's like 150 years ago. I mean, wow, that is a company that has been around forever, doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. In paper crafting, we're used to trend and in and out. You know, it's a manufacturer they'll make something, they'll do something, they'll do a collection, or but it's quick, it's fast, it's bing, bang, boom. You buy it for the store, because I have a retail store. I have Scrapbooking Made Simple, scrapbookingmadesimple.com. We're a retail store and an online store here in sunny Southern California. But in the paper crafting world, they manufacture it, they push it out, and when it's gone, it's gone. It never comes back. That is so not the case with the fine art world. They make the same thing again and again and again, so that an artist who is using these Royal Talens products knows that if they buy a burnt umber something today, and 10 years from now they need to buy that same burnt umber watercolor, acrylic, whatever it is going to be of the same quality, the same hue, the same saturation, the same pigment levels. And so in paper crafting, there's amazing innovation. We are all about what more can we do? How can we take something and make it more than what it is? In the art world, they are all about consistency, quality, standards, reliability, easy to user-friendly products, where it's so different than our paper crafting world. And I just love how they have paired together. So October, the first Tuesday in October, we start a brand new series of classes, and this is the last week for Finetec, which again is an iridescent, metallic, pearlescent watercolor. It is hand poured into the pans. So I opened up a new set. For me. I thought, I think I'm gonna play with these today. So a 6-pack. Now, these colors are not in any of the packs I've been playing with this whole week, but you can see, do you see the ripples in the pans? How the watercolor is kind of got this wavy look to it. That's because they are still hand poured. Oh my gosh. They are still hand poured. And the pans are rectangular. You can pop them out. You can replace them. So if I use this color, which I love, if I use this color and I need to replace it at some point, I just buy the one color. I will tell you that Finetec, Drawtech was originally one company, and at some point in their life, they split off into two. So you may see something that looks like Finetec, but is not. First off, that hand pouring, those wavy ripples in that beautiful metallic watercolor, that's one of the dead giveaways that this is Finetec. The second is the shape of the pan. Super important. That will tell you it's Finetec. But if you go online and you see a round pan that maybe has a depression, a stamped image in it, kind of a logo or something, that is not. It may say Finetec in the description. Whoa, take a step back. Remember, gosh, does it have those wavy lines like Stacey said? Is it in that, that rectangular pan like Stacey said? Because if it isn't, it is not Finetec watercolor. Just so you know. Not to say that it may be a fabulous watercolor. I don't know. But I want you to be able to buy what you want to buy and not be necessarily kind of, I don't want to say misled, but if it says Finetec in the name, but it isn't, so I leave it up to you what makes your heart happy. So today I am going to be playing, I think with I've got my new set. I broke open. I was like, oh, I'm going to splurge today. I've got my rainbow set that I've been playing with the whole time. I have got my pixie dust set, which is just filled with interference colors. Ooh, pretty. And I really had to think, what do I want to do today? I thought maybe I'd bring out some black clay and we might paint that and do some molds. But then I thought, how about me some embossing folders? That is definitely something that is paper crafting specific. You don't find embossing folders in the fine art store. And I thought, you know, I think I'm gonna play with some embossing folders today, and I'm going to keep it to basic black paper. This is the Stacey Park 110 pound cardstock, black cardstock. I'm gonna keep it to just basic cardstock. No watercolor paper. I'm not gonna be using mixed media paper. We're going old school today. So, Finetec, it is a 3-dimensional type paint. Not that it gives you bumpies in dimensional by height, but it gives you dimension by how the mica and the light reflects off of it and really comes back to you. And the luminosity is amazing. Is it the most inexpensive watercolor out there? No. Is it stunning? Yes. Will it last you a really, really long time? Yes. Can you do a million different things with it? I just did 4 classes on it. That's nothing. I barely even scratched the surface of where we can go with Finetec. But we've had a great time, and I think we're gonna finish it off with something definitely paper crafting related. So I am gonna cut me up some paper, and we're gonna tilt down, and we are gonna get started for today. Again, I'm Stacey. I'm the owner of Scrapbooking Made Simple, scrapbookingmadesimple.com. I teach 4 classes a week here on YouTube, and every Tuesday is where we play with fine art products and mixed media products and paper crafting products, and we really bring those worlds together to make something special happen and to really grow your creativity. Whether you're a newbie or somebody who's been doing this for quite some time, there's always something new to learn. Now, it may not be the technique that you're like, oh, where has that been my whole life? But the fact that you know it means that later on, it may be, oh yeah, I remember she showed me how to do that. I think I want to do that now. So I'm going to tilt down. We're going to get started for today. It's really good to see everybody. Now that I've got my glasses on, it's really good to see everybody. And we'll get started. Down we go, and welcome to week 4 of Finetec from Royal Talons, the distributor of Finetec products. Amazing! All right, so let me zoom on in. I am my own camera person. I know lots of YouTube people have husbands and spouses and help with their YouTubes. I do not. I am unscripted, unedited, and we just go for it. Now, I took one of my 110-pound sheets of paper and I cut it into several pieces. I just did quarters to give me something close to an A2 size. I'm going to need to paint some of these so that we can get started because they're going to need to dry a wee bit. So I think today I am really going to play. Oh, see, it's not that that's 3 sets, it's 2 sets. So there's my new one that I'm playing with. Let me just tilt that up so I can see a little bit better. And my rainbow set. And I'm just gonna play with these and get them wet. Now, Finetec reacts really quickly with water. You don't have to like spray to get them started. They are super fast with water, and I am using my fusion brushes today. These are by Yasutomo, another fine art company. These are fusion brushes. They are flat watercolor brushes. We also have them in the rounds. And the rounds come with the traditional bamboo storage and dryer, and the flats will fit right in there. There's plenty of room. But these are made for watercolor, not acrylics. No, watercolor. They hold quite a bit of watercolor. They hold quite a bit of water. and really let you just kind of go in there and pull your color. So Finetec is just beautiful. It acts more like a gouache, which is an opaque watercolor, than it does a traditional watercolor. So as it goes down, it dries to something that is almost opaque. You can water it down so you have a little bit more like a traditional watercolor, absolutely, but it does act more like a gouache, where that color, as it starts to dry, really becomes opaque. Now, can you do this with your Van Gogh watercolors? Van Gogh watercolors give you more of a traditional watercolor look. They are not as opaque as the Finetec. And I can just mix and blend my colors. So I'm just going to do a couple backgrounds because that's what we're going to start with. And I need to give them a second or two to dry. A little bit of water goes a really long way. This isn't something that you need to get your paintbrush overly wet for. A little bit of water with these goes a really, really long way. And I can just add color in to make a really pretty background that almost looks opalescent. That blue laying on top almost makes it look opalescent. All right, I think I'm going to give that a whirl and let that one sit, and we'll do a few of these so I have them ready to go. I don't like to necessarily pre-do my classes because then you really don't get to see what happens. So here it is now. We're going to give it a second or two or a minute or two to dry, and let's pull another piece of paper and let's do something a little different. So the colors in my new set, this metals set, are not the same colors that are in my rainbow set. See, look at that. I mean, and as that dries, that metallic, that beautiful sheen is going to really step up. And maybe we do a little of this champagne-y color. Ooh, yeah, I like that. And I'm not trying to cover all of a color. I'm just trying to cover all of my black. So Finetec looks great against darker colors. Doesn't have to be black. You could absolutely get in there with a blue. See, yum. And look at, as it dries, wow, it is wow. That's what the colors are. I love my Van Gogh watercolors, but the metallics are not like this. These are different. These are to a next level. And as my water evaporates from my pans, the color just, whatever color got wet, just dries up and waits for me to get it wet next time. Okay, should I let that one, should it be done? I always say it should be done as I'm dipping my paintbrush to go get some more color. All right, I'm gonna let it be, and we're gonna let it sit. And we're gonna see what it looks like once it's all dry. So let's do another one. We'll do one more, and by that time, my first one should be pretty close to dry. These colors make my heart happy. So this is definitely more copper than the one that's in my rainbow. My rainbow is definitely more orange. And it's a, woo, wow, that is orange, but I love that color too. So I'm hoping that you can see the difference. This one's definitely softer, a little more lighter. The orange is definitely more of a cacao color, and yet you can mix them together without any problem. Pick up a little bit of my green. Get a little green in here. No, I want that one. And maybe a little bit more green. And then I should just let it sit and do its thing. And give it a moment to be what it's supposed to be. All right, so I'm just gonna let that sit. So I've got a few of them now. This was the second one I did. Can you see that? It almost looks like metal. That's what it reminds me of, metal. Pretty. All right, so I'm gonna take these and we're gonna use an embossing folder with them. You're like, say what? Yeah, I'm gonna use an embossing folder with these. Just throwing a little bit of green in there. And maybe a little bit of that super bright yellow. It's not a gold, it's definitely a yellow. All right, so we're gonna let those go. And I'm gonna bring over my Big Shot machine. So I've got pretty going on, got a little wet, but we'll be okay. I'm gonna bring over my Big Shot machine. And this is a Sizzix Big Shot machine. It is the standard width. It is 6 inch, it does anything that's 6 inches wide, easy peasy. And you can take your dies, you can take your embossing folders. It cuts like a dream. And today we're gonna be using it with embossing folders. So I have got some of the Stacey Park Sizzix embossing folders with me. And we're gonna play. Now when you run an embossing folder through, these are 3D embossing folders, so they are thicker than normal. The sandwich to do that, and let's just grab a piece of this gold paper. So I can put a piece of my paper in, and when I'm using a Sizzix embossing folder, you want to see the narrower side. There's a side that's much narrower. That's the back side. The top side is a little bit wider. You put it right onto your base plate, right here, that comes with the machine. You don't need to put anything else down. You put your embossing folder with your paper inside, and then just one cut plate. That you get 2 of these with your machine, and you send it on through. Now this is a manual, so I've got a handle over here and I'm just rolling it. Let me see if I can go back just a little bit. I'm just rolling it on through, easy peasy. And it does roll very easy peasy. So I want to give people who have never seen what an embossing folder can do to plain paper, any paper. It's pretty magical. So look at what I've done to what was a basic sheet of paper, gold paper, pretty paper, but look at what I was able to do. So these folders are tools. These are tools. They're meant to be used again and again and again. They last you a lifetime if you take care of them, and you pick the designs that make your heart happy. So I'm gonna do it with my, still wet. I shouldn't have added, but I couldn't help myself. All right, I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna use it with the pieces of paper that I did my Finetec on. Now, as I said, the top side, actually maybe this one, the top side, yeah, has got the Sizzix embossing, or the Sizzix logo in it, if I can get that in there. It's got an index of the design, so you can see the design that's there. You can see the Sizzix logo, and you can see that the back side is a little bit more narrow. For what I'm doing today, typically you put your paper in face up and send it on through. I am going to put my paper face down and send it on through. I'm looking for the debossed side to work with. So when my paper is face up and I send it through, the back side pushes into the front side. It raises that embossing up and gives me those beautiful deep lines. Look at that, all embossed. But if I turn it over, those lines are now recessed in, and that's a debossed side. So when the lines are up, when you can feel it and touch it and they're raised up, you've embossed. And when the lines are set down in, you've done a deboss. And you always get an emboss and a deboss, no matter, I mean, when you put your paper in, one side's gonna be embossed and one side's gonna be debossed. But for this, I want my paper, the shiny side, the side that I just painted, I want that against my, what would be my deboss side, so that my black side is facing up. My black side is the side that's facing where the Sizzix logo is. My colored paper is facing the side where it's a little bit more narrow, and I'm just gonna send it on through. Now, I always send my embossing folders through with the opening going first. I go chomp, 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 like when you were a kid and you had to learn greater than or less than. I've always sent them through with this side first. There really isn't a good or bad way to send your embossing folders through. There isn't a right or a wrong. You do it the way that makes you happy. If it's better for you to send it through with the hinge side first, that's fine too. I just happen to always do chomp, chomp, chomp. For me, it seems to go through easier, and it's an easier roll. So I'm gonna send it on through, and I'm gonna bring it on back. And when I open it up, I've got a beautiful emboss side here on the black, but I've got this amazing debossed side where my color is. And you may be thinking, well, why did she do that? Let's do another one and then I'll show you. So in fact, maybe I need to do one more piece of paper. Let's color one more piece of paper because I think I'm gonna need 4 pieces of paper. Oh, and maybe I'll do this last one in the pixie dust. So the pixie dust is colors that are an interference color. So they all start looking white, but when you add them to your black, they are anything but that. They are stunning. So let's grab a little bit here. So it looks like it's white. They all look white. But when I put them down onto my paper, they're going to have a completely different look and feel. And the nice thing about the interference colors, and they call these pixie dust, is that they can be blended with other. See, look at that. That's not white anymore. They really are interference anything, whether you're using a mica powder or watercolors or acrylics. Interference anything is a whole lot of fun. If you're using them on their own, or if you're adding them into other watercolors to give them an iridescent, a color shift moment. And a little goes a long way. Use this one, right? All right, that gives us another one. Ooh, got a lot of water on that. Let's mix that with another. All right, I'm gonna let this one sit and just dry because I'm gonna need it. And let's go back to embossing. So I did this one, which looks great just the way it does. It looks great just the way it is. But then I think I'm gonna do this one. So again, my Sizzix label is right here, and that tells me that's the front of the embossing folder. The top side, there is a design. I don't know if I can get an image of it, a design index. So it's there, you can see it. And I could put my embossing, my paper in this way so that it embosses up. But I want to use the deboss side, so I'm gonna flip it over and we'll send it on through. Let's bring back my die cutting machine. I go chomp chomp first. I've got my base platform that comes with your machine. I've got one of the cut plates. You get 2 of them. They come with your machine. And even if all you ever did with your Big Shot machine was use it as an embossing tool, maybe you are mixed media, maybe you are altered art. This is an amazing way to add texture and dimension with ease. Your embossing folder will work with all your papers and take something flat and makes it more than what it was. So there is what the embossing would typically look like. Pretty, love it, it's flower. Here it is on the back side, which also looks absolutely beautiful. But we're gonna take it and make it more than that. Let's take our next one. And again, my Sizzix on the front, I can see my pattern, open it up, take my paper, put it in upside down, bring over my Big Shot machine, put it right on through, roll it through, bring it back, this is absolutely beautiful. I almost feel badly that we're gonna change it. It's gorgeous. It really is. And there we go. Again, the debossed side versus the embossed side. Now I could have done my paper on both sides with my Finetec. I absolutely could have. Let's see, how are we going here? It's still a little wet. Still a little wet, but I'm gonna go ahead and this time I'm gonna do the embossed side. So far I've been putting it down upside down, backwards, so that the black is facing forward. Now I'm gonna do it as if I was doing a normal embossing folder. I've got my paper facing up, I've got my logo, I've got my design, and let's send it on through. So here's my deboss side. You can see the lines are set down in, and that's what I have here. Debossed, debossed. Turn it over, embossed. Those lines are now popped up, and emboss. So what are we gonna do with them? Well, we're now going to take them and make them more than what they are, and I'm going to do that with a black dye ink pad from Jacquard. This isn't just any black dye ink pad, it's actually a waterproof dye ink pad, which means that we can use it when we do our watercoloring, we can use it when we're doing alcohol ink markers, we use it for just about anything, and it works beautifully on the metallics, on the Finetec. Now Finetec, let me just push this up to you. Hold on just a moment. Finetec really is a watercolor. It has the properties of gouache, which means it's more opaque. Opaque is good. Gouache is, we had the best time with gouache with vellum. I mean, who knew you could take watercolor and use it with vellum? So gouache is an opaque watercolor, and they all of this, the Finetec, the gouache, the Van Gogh, are fundamentally the same thing, but how the particles are used are different. The size of the pigments in there, the size of that changes everything. Watercolor, traditional watercolor, well, it's just done with, those are like, pretend those are all the little bits and pieces of the watercolor, and all the open space around it would be your binder, which is gum arabic, but those pieces are so small that when you add water to it, they melt. They have a very transparent, translucent look. Unlike gouache, now you've got these itty bitty particles compared to these big fat ones, but they're the same. They're just in a different size. And because they're big and fat, once you start to paint with it, it's more opaque. It's more opaque. Opaque, bake, opaque, opaque. Gouache is still a watercolor. And then Finetec is kind of in between the two of them. But it's still a watercolor. So I'm going to use my ink to go over the top of this to add another element. And because it is a watercolor that I've put down first, my ink will dry. It will take a little time, but my ink will dry because it will slowly seep into the paper, which is what dye-based inks do. Whether you're using a gouache or you're using a Van Gogh watercolor or you're using a Finetec watercolor, the ink will move into the paper because we're not using an acrylic. If we were using an acrylic paint, my great Jacquard waterproof ink would be a no-go. I would need to use something like a StazOn where it's permanent. Will it take time to dry? Yes, you have to set it aside, give it a little time to dry, move on to your next one, but your ink will dry because fundamentally we are just using watercolors. Nothing to be, ooh, what is this? No, watercolor, a little bit of water and we are good to go. So let's tilt on down and let's get started. So I've got my paper that's been inked, well, my paper that's been painted with my Finetec to give that beautiful, beautiful metallic pearlescent iridescent sheen. I've done my embossing and I've done the debossed side. And now I'm gonna take my black ink and I'm gonna go over the top of it. And you're like, wait, what? I'm gonna go over the top of it. Oh, there went my embossing folder. So I want you to see the difference. So now by adding that black ink, I've really highlighted the metallic. Over here, I haven't done the black. And you can kind of see, you can see where the embossing is, but over here, adding that black just lifts everything up and makes that color even more special. So let's finish it. So because the lines are debossed, the ink can't hit them. The lines are too far down. They're underneath the flat surface of our paper, which means that anywhere that line is debossed, the centers are debossed, all my circles are debossed, the black can't hit it, which then allows, for the black ink to only hit the surface of my paper, really adding something to set that fabulous metallic off. And remember, all I did was kind of paint, paint, paint. I didn't spend too much time thinking about it. I can come back in if I want to add more until I'm happy. And then I need to let it sit and dry. So there's the first one. The second one we did was the flowers. And I'm only going to do half of it so you can see what the difference is by adding the black ink. So now you can see that ink, the flower itself is now popping off the page. And the ink that's sitting in the little grooves all the way around is popping out. But over here, pretty, yes, but a little difficult, a little harder to see the actual design of the embossing folder. Over here, it just pops. And when you're done, it really gives this almost iridescent-y kind of look to it. So, I mean, look at it, it just kind of moves and shines and shimmers, and yet that black acts as a grounding agent to set that metallic off. And then you gotta let it dry. I know, I'm impatient. I have the hardest time letting it dry. But as it does, it just pops. So I'm gonna let this one's beautiful. This one's absolutely gorgeous. The flower lends to the metallics, and that black just makes it just gorgeous. So then we did this one where we used the design as a deboss. So all the design is down. And I'm gonna do half and half. And where the lines are debossed and the paint is sitting down there, the watercolor, the Finetec is sitting down there. Now you really see that design, but you're not losing. Look at all in here is all of that Finetec just winking back at you. Now over here, I haven't done my black yet, but over here I have. And you may like it this way. I'm just showing you options. Look at how, see, I think by adding the black, it weights the metallic. It gives the metallics, the Finetec, something to contrast against. It's beautiful here, but over here you really get the play of the colors and the shine. So now I've done the whole thing. And it is so rich and so elegant. But remember, I also did it, the same design, embossed. Now all the little designs are popped up. I can feel them. They're not recessed down in, they're raised up. And it's going to give an entirely different look than that. So let's take a little bit of our ink and right over the top. So now it's only going to hit, the ink is only going to hit the highest points of the embossing folder. It's only going to hit the highest points. If it was this way, they would be the lowest points because they're debossed in, they're pushing up. But over here, they are the highest points of the folder. Totally different look, nothing here. It is a completely different look. than what I did here. And you have to decide which one you like the best. If you are an artist and this is the first time you're seeing embossing folders, let me tell you, you incorporate this into any type of art. They are beautiful. If you like texture in your art, embossing folders are one of the cheapest, easiest ways to achieve that. And it comes from the paper crafting world. And if you are a paper crafter and you want to add in now remember, these all started as what looks like white with like a hint of color to them. And look at what we did. Look at that. So do we like it this way? Or do we like it this way? You want it to be a little more grunge? Maybe this is the way. I don't know. See, this way you see all of the design. All of it. Here, it really pops the big outlines. They are amazing and they are so easy to do, but you need a watercolor that is going to be more opaque. You need it to hold the color strong. And that's what Finetec does. Could you do this with pastes? A little bit harder to do with pastes, and pastes may not dry, may not accept the ink. So pastes a little bit harder to come around and do, or waxes. You have to play, but the Finetec is gorgeous and it's easy. Easy. So I wonder if we did another one like that real quick. And let's see if we can get it. Let's do I'm going to do the other side. So I'm going to do this one. I did this one in the deboss. Let's see what it looks like in the emboss. So I'm going to paint super fast so we can get it dry. And I'm just scribbling my color on here. I'm good at scribble, scribble, scribble. I'm not thinking too much, too hard, too long. Because no matter what I do, it's going to be beautiful. Not that I make it beautiful, the paints make it beautiful. The paints set you up for success, and that really is what fine art product does. It sets you up to be successful because you're not using something that is of lower quality, and then when you don't get the color you want, or it's not as deep or intense and you're wondering why, well, it's not you. Isn't that nice? It's not you. I wish everything could be that way. You always want to try and buy the best quality you can get. And maybe that's not Finetec, maybe it's something else. But you always want, if you buy the best quality you can get. It's like when my father said, if you're going to buy a house, buy the cheapest house in the best neighborhood. And that's what he said. Go get the cheapest house in the best neighborhood. Yes, you may have the fixer-upper on the block, but the neighborhood holds the value. And you can fix it up over time. But not to have the best house in the neighborhood that nobody wants to live in. That doesn't help you any, even if it's the best house on the block. So, You buy the best quality products you can afford at the time, and then have at it. And that's one of the things I like about Royal Talons, is that they are fine art, and yet their products are affordable. All right, let's let that one just dry for a few minutes. And in the meantime, I'm just gonna mat these real quick. So I brought some I'm just gonna straighten these up a little bit and put a little mat on them. Let's see what we get. So this is the last week of Finetec for this year. Except I'm going to be using Finetec in our Saturday with Stacey YouTube class. That is a full-length technique-based craft class. I do every Saturday morning. We live chat during it, and I use the product in multiple different ways. And I thought that before we leave Finetec for the year, we'll do a full-length class. And I might incorporate a little bit of this in the full-length class, but then I've got a few other things that I haven't shown you yet. So I'm just going to mat it. Finetecs are yummy. And probably the most versatile set is the pixie dust, because you can add that pixie dust set, that interference set, even to, I mean, they play with any watercolors. Any watercolors you can add it to. Finetec's really good about playing with everything. And just a little bit of matte behind it. And so pretty. All right, I think we're close enough to dry. It's still got a little bit of wet, but we're just gonna go for it. And I'm gonna do this one, only I'm gonna do the embossed side. We'll bring our machine back over and we'll do our very last one. Still a little wet, but that's okay. I'm just gonna go for it. It's only paper. I'm just using inexpensive cardstock, 110 pound. It's only paper. Okay, oh, my top plate is right there. And send it on through. And it will have a completely different look than the one we started with. So now everything is raised. Let's take a little bit of my black ink and I'll just do part of it so you can see it. So now my little ovals are what hits the black, and everything else is down below, where on this one my ovals are down below and the black doesn't touch it. It's the same folder and it looks two different ways, and you get to do both because paper has two sides. You just have to decide what look you're going for. Paper has two sides. So now I have the embossed and I have the debossed. And they both are magical. And as that black dries, a little bit more of that iridescence comes through, a little bit more, but see how it grabs those top layers, that design, and holds on to it, and see how it grabs the flat but doesn't touch anything debossed in? So it doesn't matter whose embossing folders you use, it will work with any of them. 3D embossing folders are going to give you a better result, and almost all embossing folders these days are 3D. I'm playing with a few of my own. I don't know that we have very many in stock, but I'll look, and if we do, I'll put them in the In the Studio with Stacey category. But I thought we would just finish out with some pretty things that we can take and utilize right away in our paper crafting world. And that maybe somebody from the art world might go, hey, that's pretty cool. Mixing the two worlds together. So I think we have 6 sets of the Finetec on sale. I used 3 sets, so I used the pixie dust, I used the metals, I don't know if they're metals or metallics, and I used the rainbow. These were the 3 sets I've used for the classes. They're all great, and again, if you use up one, you just pop it out. Do we have open stock? We will. We have it in the store, and we'll be adding it online for you. You just buy the one pan you need, pop it right back in, and you are good to go. So we'll see Finetec one more time on Saturday. But we've got these are the metallic colors. These are the interference colors, iridescence, pearlescence, and then the rainbow colors. So available at local art stores, available at scrapbookingmadesimple.com, available in our retail store. If you have a local art store, I encourage you to shop them first. I used basic cardstock today. We've got the brushes for you. And I'll see what we can do, what we have in the way of Stacey Park embossing folders. I know we don't have many left, but we'll see what we've got, and if I can, I'll put them in there. And if not, we'll be playing again on Saturday, just not with my embossing folders. Nope, I'm going to be playing with somebody else's and more. So I'm going to do something in that class that I haven't done here in the Studio with Stacey. So you'll have to join me on Saturday morning, 8 a.m. sunny California time, 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern, to finish up our Finetec classes. Now the next time I see you will be Thursday afternoon, 6 p.m. sunny California time, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern, for our next New For You event, where we bring you the latest and greatest products from your favorite manufacturers. I have memory box for you this week, so join me for the live chat right here on the Scrapbooking Made Simple YouTube channel. Don't forget to hit like, don't forget to subscribe, and we sure appreciate you hanging with me today. I love my In the Studio with Stacey classes. They are a highlight for me, and I hope you feel the same. Okay, you guys, I'll see you later. Bye, everybody.